Hello again, welcome back. In the last video, we looked at how to import our data into a new table. In this video, we're going to look at how to create relationships, create our data entry forms, and then how to create our queries and generate a report from the query. So to begin, I'm going to go to my database tools menu, and from here, I'll click on relationship. I'm going to drag the customers table and the orders table to the work environment here. Please make sure you expand so you can see all the fields in the table. Now the question said we should create a relationship, a one-to-many relationship between the customer number. So we have the customer number here in the customers table and the customer ID in the orders table. So this is the customer ID. The customer number is the primary key. As we can see, there is a primary key icon here, and then the customer ID is the foreign key. So all I need to do is simply drag from the primary key. So click and drag from the primary key to the foreign key, and then click on create. Then I need to double click to bring up the dialog box again. So from here, you can see we've created the one-to-many relationship using the customer number and the customer ID. So I need to take my screenshot for this. So this is how you're meant to take a screenshot, and then you put that into your evidence document. Let me bring up snipping tool, make it easy. Now for this screenshot, the examiner will be looking to see if you have your one-to-many relationship created, if you've used the customer number and the custom ID, and then they want to see the relationship that was created between the two tables. So this is the screenshot you need to put for evidence 5. Now the next tag says you should create a columnar data entry. So that is the type of form we're creating, and it should include all the fields from the orders table. So we're using the orders table. The field heading must be aligned to the left and positioned under each other, and then all the fields must be fully visible with the layout being consistent. And then we should add an appropriate title to the top of the form. So I'm going to click OK, close the relationship, and then save. I'm going to go to my create menu, and under the form section, I'll click on form wizard. So I need to use the orders table because that is what they asked us to use. All the fields from there. Next, we're creating a columnar data entry form. So here I'm going to put an appropriate name. So I'm going to call this orders form. Now you can choose which of the ways you want it to open. You can use open the form to view the entered information or modify. So either one you choose is still fine. I like to choose the option modify the form design because if there's any additional settings or configuration I need to do, it takes me straight to the design view where I can actually do that. Okay. So in this case, we're not going to do any modifications of the controls or anything like that. We just need to make sure that the fields are aligned to the left and on top of each other or under each other. Fields are consistent. So once all this information is done, I can change the view to my form view. Now from the form view, I can see that the alignment is not so much consistent. So what I can do is go to the layout view so I can make the changes while still viewing the data. So click on the first cell, click on hold and control my keyboard, click on the next one while still holding down the control, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. I can leave the control now. Now from the form layout tools menus that came up, I'll go to format and then choose left align. So everything is aligned to the left in this manner. I'll go back to the form layout design menu and then change my view to the form view. So now it says use the form created in the previous step, step 24, to enter the following details as a new order. So from my home menu on the record section, I'm going to click on new so that I can add new records, and then I will enter the information. Please make sure you're writing it exactly the way it was given to you. Make sure you are writing where there's capital letters, put capital letters. Where there's small letters, put small letters. So we have this, and then we have A201 2017 4 2 1 0 and 160. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to click on the save button. Of course, I've checked to make sure that my data entry is correct. So I'll click on the save button. And the moment I clicked on save, the currency value changed to the pound there. The next task we're to do is to take a screenshot evidence showing the form and the data that we entered. So again, snipping tool, new, and then I will take a screenshot just like this. So of course, I want to see that I'm using a form. They'll check to see if you give an appropriate title, and then if all the data you entered was correct. They will also check for consistency in the form and the columnar form, are they aligned on top under each other and the rest. So once that is done, you get your full mark. This is what you put under evidence 6 in your evidence document for this task. Now finally, we're going to work on our queries and our report. Usually when they ask you to produce a report, you must first produce a query before you can produce a report. And when you're working on your query, there are certain tasks that you'll be asked to do, such as creating a calculated field on runtime, using search criteria, and then sorting your data. So we're going to do this one after the other. Yes, I'm going to save. The first thing I'm going to do is to create my query. So I'm going to go to create and then query design. I like to use the query design over the wizard because when you use the query wizard, it still brings you back to the query design interface. So I just rather would prefer going straight there. Now, from the questions, it says using fields from both tables. So we need to use both tables, the customer table, and then we also need to use the orders table. Again, please make sure you can see all the fields in each of the tables. Now it says produce a report which contains a new field called gross underscore value, and it is calculated at runtime to display as what currency. So the field will calculate the order value plus 20% of the order value. And then we're supposed to show only those fields where the records are this. Now, for me to start this, I'm going to start with the third tax here. The reason why I'm starting with the top tax is because you cannot do the first two tags without first having the values in your query. So it says show only the values customer number, the title. So I'm double clicking on each of the fields and it automatically adds them here. I can close this. You don't need to see that now. Let me minimize this environment. Okay. And then the first name, the last name, the order ID, order value, and then gross underscore value. So we do not have gross underscore value here because it's a field we need to create at runtime. So this brings me back to the first start here. Now, when you want to create a calculated field on runtime, it follows a particular syntax. Okay, and this is how the syntax looks like. The field name that you need for the calculated field on runtime, and then you put a column and then the calculated values. Okay, value, or it could be a formula. So this is the syntax. So you put a field name, there must be a column to say this new calculated field should calculate these values. So take note of this. The column is very key. Okay. So field name and that. Now, based on the syntax that was given to us, the field name was gross underscore value. So I'm simply going to type gross underscore value. And let me be sure I'm writing it exactly the way it was given. Yes, so the G and V is capital. Then I'm going to put my column. Now, what is it supposed to calculate? The order value. So the order value is a field here. I'll write it exactly the way it is. Order underscore value. So the O and V is capital. And then plus 20% of the order value. Now, 20% represented in decimal form is 0.2. So I'll say 0.2 multiplied. So I'm using the asterisk, okay? Order underscore value. Okay. So let me expand this so that you can see it properly. Okay. So gross value, order value plus 20% of it. All right. So what I like to do is I like to run it to show the value. So you can see the gross value has been created and calculated here. So it says it should be, so I'll go back to my design view. So it said it should be calculated as what? Currency value. So I need to bring up my property sheet and then I'm going to format the data type as currency. And I need to make sure I'm consistent. So at the beginning, we did talk about the currency values displaying to 0 decimal place. So it said it should display to 0 decimal place. So I need to make sure that the currency value is displaying to 0 decimal place unless it's stated otherwise. Okay. So I'll run again. Yeah, to 0 decimal place. So back to my design view. Now the next thing we need to do here is to now add the next field. So the next field is pay underscore type, so which is this field here. Okay. Close this now. Trying to minimize the field again. So now I have all my fields fully visible. Pay on the type is not visible, so I need to show that. Okay. Now, one thing that's very key when you're doing this is the fact that they made the statement in this order. So all the fields must be arranged in the same order and the data labels are fully visible. Now it says sort the data into descending order. So before we do that, let's finish up this part. So the order year, back to the design. The order year is 2017. So I'm going to go back to where I have my order year. Was there order year here? No, it wasn't. So I can add that, okay? And in the criteria, I'll put 2017. So I need to run that. Good. So all the other year is 2017. So because it's not one of the fields that should show, I'll go back to my design view and uncheck this. Now the next thing is the pay type should be contained card. So the keyword there is contained. The search criteria to use is the like search criteria. So like, asterisk, and then card, put the word card inside, and then asterisk again. So I'll run this. So all the pay type that contains the word card is now showing here. And then the order value is 90 or more. That means 90 or greater than 90. So I'm going to put order value criteria, which should be greater than or equal to 90. And then I'll run this again. So all the values showing here are greater than or equal to 90. Okay. So back to my design view. The next part we need to do is to sort the data into descending order of pay type. So I'll go to the pay type field, which is here. Under the sort section, I'll say descending. Again, run and view. So it's now descending. And then ascending order of order value. So order value should be ascending. Again, run, good. Now, what I will do from here is to start generating the report. So every other thing that's left will be about the report. I'm going to go to my create, go to report section, and then use the report button. Now, when this query asks you to save, click on yes, and then click on OK. You don't have to give it the query name. So I'm using all the fields from my query that needs to show. Next. Here you need to be very careful. When you see this doing the fields being sorted in form of two groups, you need to be sure that this is not happening. If this happens, then you get the wrong report. So what I simply need to do, I'll click on the next table. Now this is how all the fields should be arranged for you. Click on next, and then no grouping. They said do not group. Okay. So I'll click on next. I don't need to do the sorting again because we've already done the sorting in the query. And then next. Now the report by default is always tabular. So I'm going to leave that. They said the page orientation should be landscape. So I'll change this to landscape. And then it should fit on a single page wide. So this should be checked. And then include the heading card payment in 2017. So I'll click on next. And the title here will be card payment in 2017. So modify the report design and click on finish. So I've done this part. Now it says it should calculate the average value and place this below the order value. So calculate the average order value and place it below the order value. So that's simple to do. I just simply need to, under the details section, I need to look for the order value, which is this one. Click on it, then go to where it says totals, and then choose average. So if they ask you to do sum, average, count the record to the max minimum. Okay, so I'll click on average, and this will place it directly under the average value column for me. Now, it says this should display as what? Currency. So I'll click here, bring up my property sheet again, And then on the format, I need to check. So this is currency. Okay. Again, this is displaying to two decimal place, but it said all currency values must be displayed to zero decimal place. If this would change, they would specify that. Now it says has a label average order value to the left of this value. So I need to go to controls, then choose label from the control and add it to the left hand side as stated. So this is called average. Again, make sure you're writing it exactly the way it's given to you, or the value. There we go. So I'm going to expand this so that it is properly visible. And then it says has your name, center number, and carrier number on every page of the report. So if it's supposed to be on every page of the report, then I need to put it in the page footer. Please take note, there's a difference between report header, page footer, and report footer. Okay, so your page header and your page footers are just like your header and footer in when we did a Word document, but the report header is where you put the title of your report, often the title of the report. So it starts the report, and then your report footer, whatever information you put there is what the last information you find at the end of the report. It does not repeat on every page. So take note of that. So I'm going to click on this box just once, and then I'll hit the delete key on my keyboard. Then I'll go to my controls and use a label. Notice I am not using a text box, so let me use a label and put this under my page footer. So I'm going to put my name, probably center number. Yes, they ask for center number, and then the candidate number. So I'm just going to use a simple candidate number. Now, if I view my report, you will notice I don't have any much error besides basic formatting that needs to be done. Okay, this is what happens when you use a text box for this tax. So I'm going to put just my name here so you see the difference. This is the error that you will have when you run the report. So when you see this, it simply just means that you use the text box to enter your name, center number, and client number rather than using a label. So just cancel that, go back to your design view, and then delete this, then go back and use a label. Okay, so now we need to fix this part where it says we're done with this. The data are fully visible and displays, or it displays in full. So to do this, I'm going to go to my layout view. So the layout view allows me to see the data and then allows me to adjust the layout of my report. So while this is selected, I can click on the titles, hold down control on my keyboard, and click on this one. Now always look for the longest text to use to edit. So in this case is this one. And the title, I can also reduce. Then I'm going to use the left or right arrow key to move the content to the left or the right. So the left and right arrow key are the ones for my keyboard. So let me adjust this one as well. So what will be the longest text here? It looks like still first underscore name and then last name. In Greenwood looks like the longest text. Okay, so I have four order ID. The order ID should be the longest value there. And then use the left arrow key to adjust. Okay. Now here we have order underscore value, and the order is cropped, so I need to expand this so that that shows the label shows in full. Now take note, if you have a date field or a currency field and it's showing hashtag, that just simply means that the field width is not wide enough to display the value. Okay, so the same thing here, I need to expand. Good, before I adjust. And then pay type. Okay, so I can adjust this one as well. Now, one last thing you need to know about your report. You see those dotted lines here and the ones here and the ones here. They are trying to tell you the region that will be printed out by the printer. So if you have a field that exceeds that point, for instance, something like this, so only this part that says credit and the rest will be printed. So the card part will not be printed because it is outside the print area. So you need to be careful with that when you're producing your report. So everything here seems to be fine. And this is bold enough, but if you want it to be more bold, you can simply just increase the font size, make it bold if they ask you to put it bold. Okay, and then I need to adjust this one because they said place it under the other value. Since we've moved those other values, that means this will also move as well. So it needs to be placed under the other value like this. Okay, so I have a slight issue. Remember they said all the values should be in currency with 0 decimal place. So that means most likely I forgot to do this when we imported the table. But it is easy to fix this in your report. Just simply go back to your design view of the report, and then under the details pane, click on order value, and then report design, bring up your property sheet and set the decimal place to 0. Okay, so if I view my report, now it's showing properly. Next thing I need to do is to print the report according to the question. Okay, so to print that, I'm going to simply go to my print preview. Then from there, I can print. Let me save this to PDF. I'll use Microsoft Print to PDF, and then I will call this printout 2 because the question says printout 2. I'll call this printout 2, and then click on save. So I'm printing to PDF here. Now the next one says placing evidence document screenshot to show the formula used to calculate the average. So to do that, I need to close my print preview first, go back to my design view, and then I need to take a screenshot of this. Let me just adjust this a bit. Tiles. And I will use my snipping tool, new, then take a screenshot this way, and then put that inside my evidence document. Let's see. We're done with this. We're done with this. And the next part, it says export the report created in step 26. That's the previous one, to be used in another application, and then save the exported file in your work area. So when you want us to export it, we'll simply, let me go back just to be sure. Okay, good. So back to my report view. I'll go to the external data now, and then I will say export. I'm going to choose more and then choose Word. So this will export it as a rich text format for me. So card payments in 2017, and then I'll click. So you can browse to the folder where you want to save it. So in this case, it's in this folder, and then I will click OK. Okay, let's see. Object could not be loaded. Error. Let's see. It actually went through. Oh yeah, so it did. So this is the file. Usually you should have a word icon showing there, but there's a slight issue with my system representing the icons, but it's here. And if I open this in Word, it shows me the information that I require. Okay, so the screenshot you need to take to show that this has been saved or exported is this one. So I'm just going to simply take a screenshot. I'll first highlight this, then use my snipping tool and take a screenshot like this. So what I'm simply doing is I'm showing the examiner that yes, it is saved in this file. You can call it an export format I use to save it, and my work area name, work area folder name. So this is how you show your evidence document for question 27. Okay. All right. So let's do a quick activity. We're going to stop here for this video, and then in the next video, we're going to look at how to create labels. Thank you. Bye.